Thank you. With that, I'm going to go back to our general counsel to bring up the petition for the single member district 8A1.
As Board Member Gill indicated, the next item is the adoption of the petition to recall Holly Muhammad, Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner for Single Member District 8A01. On July 23rd, Mr. Donahue filed a notice of recall and it was submitted with the appropriate statement and support. And it included all the required information, as well as an affidavit that Mr. Donahue resides in the same single member district as the elected official whose recall is sought. And so, as I indicated during the last matter involving the previous recall petition, the sole purpose is to inquire whether or not the proponent adopts the petition form as it was prepared by the board as their own. And if so, the board will entertain a motion to issue the recall petition form. The only inquiry is whether or not the information submitted is correctly and accurately reflected on the petition form that the board prepared, which the proponent has had the opportunity to review. Is Mr. Thomas Donahue on the line?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Mr. Donahue. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay.
So the general counsel informed the board that they have prepared an original petition form for the recall measure. And I'd like now to ask you, Mr. Donahue, if the measure that is in our agenda and you have a copy of is the correct language that you would like to use.
And if you could state your name and address for the record. Sure.
Again, my name is Tom Donahue. I reside at 2200 Prout Street Southeast here in Ward 8. In my concerns are very similar to the discussion on the last applicant. There are there's information within her statement that simply does not have anything to do with my grounds for asking to be recalled, and are just unnecessary. It has nothing to do with the recall, and nor is it even correct. So given the fact that this is released publicly, and this is something that I would be using to on the grounds of collecting my signatures. And again, I apologize if this is online, but you know, is there a way to compel or remove the items that are that have nothing to do with the actual grounds for recall? She basically didn't even respond to anything within my recall itself.
So you want to answer?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be personally attacked for something that, you know, that being publicized of information that's not true. And I don't think that that's fair, and it's against the best interest of any voter to have to, you know, tolerate information that A, doesn't have anything to do with the recall, and B, is false information. There is information within her statement that has no reflection of anything that I had even said in regards to the recall, and it should not be included.
And so there is no, to answer your question, it's not within the board's purview to compel the elected official to amend or remove her statement.
With that said, the response can't just say anything. I mean, she could have wrote that, you know, anything in that. Would that mean that you guys would accept that terminology?
Yep.
So there are a couple of things. The first is that while circulation is ongoing, both sides have the opportunity to put their messages out in support of or against each party. And so there's that opportunity. And so that's what could occur. And the other thing is you don't have to adopt the petition to
so
was formulated.
and I'm just going to say this from I am, non-attached to any sort of, this is the first political thing I have ever done in my life. But I would voice to the fact that this would honestly keep voters such as myself from taking on this process. Ms. Muhammad could have put as her response that I'm a murderer, and that was what I would have to accept today. As far as what goes on the recall, that would be irresponsible of the Board of Elections, and it wouldn't be right to me. Now, given the fact that if we move forward with the way that this is stated, there should be, if it doesn't relate to anything that is mentioned in the recall whatsoever, I see no reason for it to be even on her response, and it should be it should be the board's right to be able to remove something that's unrelated. I'm not the one being recalled. So, but then you're telling me that if I don't accept this, then I can't move forward with it. So in one sense, I don't want this false information unrelated to a recall to be, publicly smearing me around my single member district. And two, I don't want to not go forward with a person that deserves to be recalled. So that does put me in a conundrum, and it makes it a very unfair process for me as a voter or future voters to even want to take part in that process if this is what they may have to endure. If by just having false information like this unrelated in any way, shape, or form onto this sheet of paper that I'm gonna be walking around and meeting my neighbors and getting to know, the information doesn't have anything to do with me, and it shouldn't be there. If it's unrelated, then it shouldn't be there.
Yeah, and I will say that you had the opportunity to say exactly that while you are circulating.
Okay, you're right. I do have that right, but it's also it also could be circulated to people that I'm unaware or that I don't get the opportunity to reach. There's no reason that the information unpertinent to the recall out of her statement should be there, and it's not fair to me as a voter to have to defend something that I am not supposed to be even in a position to be. It's not my behavior or that anyone's defending. It's hers. She needs to defend her behavior and the reasons I've asked the board to recall her or my neighbors to recall her. But I'll be in a position to have to defend myself. I don't know that that's appropriate. I don't know that that's the impression that I would want my neighbors to have. And it's not fair to me as a voter.
So we've heard you. I'll tell you, when I first came to the board and was first presented with these a number of years ago, we come to this situation, and that was one of my first questions was, is this process so open that anyone can throw anything down there? And the first opportunity I had to look on was a number of years ago when they were sort of criticizing the staff of a member, which I thought was a bit unfair. The staff had nothing to do with any of this, but they sort of picked on that. And the reality is the court precedents that we rely on for this decision are whatever fits within the white space, it can be put down. And that's what we're bound to sort of accept. So I can't make any judgments as to whether things are true or false, but the system that's set up is each side has the ability to fill that white space with whatever words they want. And our hands are tied in terms of whether we can make a determination of whether what they're saying is truthful, appropriate, or not.
Well, the other thing I would say is that you also determine that we have to say it within 200 words or not. So I would say that you folks do have some leverage at some point to make changes. And I'm not saying that this to my application is appropriate. I'm just saying that it's very easy to be able to read the grounds that I'm asking for the recall versus what her response is, and if there's something being said that has nothing to do with the recall, like illegal surveillance with my camera, that has not, I don't mention anything like that in my grounds for recall. It's false. It's not true, and I shouldn't have to defend it. And the Board of Elections should not be the one helping to push that agenda or that false information along. And you're almost forcing me to have to commit to doing that against my will, or the petition doesn't go forward, and that's not fair either. So I think that this is, you know, I don't have a problem speaking up for others that may in the future want to do the same thing. But you folks have to understand that this very thing could be the reason why somebody who has a fair reason for recalling somebody doesn't go through, because they can write anything. I mean, if you can limit it to 200, then somebody can you know, there has to be a way that what if she wrote, what if a respondent says, you know, such and such murdered somebody? Would you would literally allow that to move forward? I mean, I just hope you all understand where I'm coming from. I'm a first time, you know, voter that thinks that my elected representative, the speaker, the person who speaks for me, is not speaking correctly in right on my behalf and on the behalf of my neighbors. But it's not fair for me you give me the opportunity to voice that concern and recall her, yet in doing so, you subject me to her or somebody else being able to make false claims, and the Board of Elections seems to be the one to be the engine that allows it to move forward. I mean, it's irresponsible. I don't know what the fix is, but it certainly is not. It's not fair, and it's not right to me whatsoever.
Well, I appreciate your comments. As I've said, we don't have the authority to decide what goes in that space for the text. And so, unfortunately, you have the opportunity now to either approve the petition as it's been submitted, or you can choose not to approve it.
So, if I choose not to approve it, what happens at that point?
Then it disappears.
And so, do I have the option to resubmit it?
Sure.
Yes, you can,
Yeah,
of course,
sure.
resubmit it.
Yeah.
And what is the board able to table this matter?
So you're asking if the board would table this petition so that you can come back and adopt it at a later meeting, or are you going to adopt it now or reject it now? Or do you want time to think about it? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, it's not only do I want time, but I want to see what legal recourse I may have to interject this process before false information such as what she's published is forcefully transmitted to my neighbors, which there has to be a legal interception of some sort that I need to look into pursuing.
Well, nothing has happened yet. So the board has, the petition is here. Are you asking the board to delay the issuance of the petition?
Yes, if it can be tabled to next the next meeting. I think that would be appropriate. It'll give me some time to. I didn't realize that this was the actual verbiage that would be shared with all of my neighbors, and I understand that I too, you know, the same thing goes with me, but I'm not the elected official. I'm not the one that has ran for public office and that is subject to these types of scrutiny. I'm just the person that says, hey, what's happening here with the person who's elected and represents my voice is not representing me well. So I'm going to ask for my neighbors to remove her from office. That does not necessarily subject me to having somebody else make up lies or even if unrelated things to what's even in my petition. I mean, most of what she has said has nothing to do with my petition.
Madam Chair, is there a limit to Mr. Donahue's speaking today?
And I'll move on. If the board wants to, if you're able to table it for the next meeting, that'd be great. I would like that. If not, let me know.
Madam
we-
Chair, we'd also like to find out whether the public can speak today.
No, this is only for the question of the adoption of the issuance of the petition.
So what I'm hearing is that you
By
want
the
to
proponent.
withdraw your
Delay the issuance of the
The
petition.
issuance.
Yeah.
and Karen, do you want to have a comment on whether you want to do that or not? I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with delay if he wants to delay the issuance of the petition.
Sure.
'Cause I'm
And I appreciate you want to get some legal advice
Yeah.
on it. And that's fine. As I said, when I first came to the board, I was surprised at the parameters that we allow in this, but it is because of the precedent that it's already been set, and that's why we allow we'll do it. We can't get into the business of adjudicating truth and falsehood. It really is up to, and honestly, there's an expectation of civil discourse that goes in here that I don't think the authors of the statute ever thought that they would have to get that granular, but that's the situation we're in. You are welcome to go get that legal advice, and we will delay matters on this.
Entertain a motion to delay the
Oh, Karen, can I entertain a motion to delay?
Yes, I move that we delay the issuance of this petition.
Motion seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. There we
Board,
go.
I thank you very much for hearing me out. I appreciate it.
Okay, and